Should you cold call without first having leads? I've heard this a ton of times. I've been asked this many times. I asked myself the same question. I've tried both, and I'm going to speak on that really briefly on this video. My name is Nick Wood, the king of digital real estate. Digital real estate being the very simple but incredible business model of building websites and getting leads from those websites, renting them out to local business owners and making passive income. And yes, I've got my own spin on it. Yes, I like to pre-sell. Yes, I like to sell the deal and use other people's money in order to build my empire, but more on that later and throughout this channel. Guys, let's talk about this. What should you do? So part of the process when you're getting deals, part of this sales process that I've been implementing for years and years is I make sure to let the leads do the selling for me. I'm not interested in trying to convince somebody about how good my product is or any of that kind of crap. I am going after people who are already in the market for this service, that are already paying somebody else for this service, like Google, like HomeAdvisor, like Angie's List, like Thumbtack, etc., and going and letting my leads do the heavy lifting. So what I mean by that is I am going to give you my product, and I'm gonna let you touch it, taste it, feel it, smell it, make it yours with no strings attached. All I ask for is a call in return, right? And so in order to do that, at some point you have to cold call a business owner and you have to have this conversation and you have to give them a lead. Now, I have talked about generating the leads first, and if you don't have a website, you don't have leads coming in, turning on some ads and running them to a very simple landing page to speed up the process, et cetera, et cetera. The question is, would you recommend doing this without first doing the leads? Because at some point you'll start realizing, okay, well, what if I just call ahead and, I just start calling business owner as if I had a lead, or speaking theoretically, or telling them I'm going to be getting leads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I've done this. I had a setter that we had hired in 2021 that was doing this, and I want to speak on it, okay? I will say this. If it is me and me alone, so in 2020, I was doing a lot of the cold calling. I've always tried to use setters because it just made sense to me to do more with more people and have the leverage. But I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be like my 2 cents on this topic. Again, probably not the only perspective, and maybe there's other right answers. If it's me, and I'm Mr. Solopreneur like I was basically in 2020, doing a lot of this on my own. Now, I did have a little bit of help, and some of you guys don't even have that. If it's just me, I would recommend against it. I would recommend that you wait to get the leads and then call, because it's going to be way more effective. You're going to go through a lot less no's to get the yes. And when you do find the yes, it's going to go quick, okay? And the reason I say this is because it kind of goes back to what Tim Ferriss talked about in his book. And if you guys haven't read this book, I have the soft copy. It's usually orange. He talks about this job that he had where he was cold calling, right? He had this cold calling software job, and he realized he was calling all day like everybody else, and nobody was getting, they weren't letting anyone through because of the gatekeepers. So he's like, well, what if I just call at 5 to 6 and 6 to 7 or 7 to 8 in the morning, those 2 hours. And he found that he was getting more done in 2 hours than people were getting done in 8, 9 hours. And of course, it didn't go well because they wanted him working all the hours, because that's how a lot of bosses roll. But my point being is, you're way more effective when you have a lead in hand. You're way more confident. The way that you speak, when you call and say, hey, Mr. Business Owner, I've got this lady, Joanne, she's over on 3240 East Sahara Drive. That's believable. And you can make up an address or whatever, but it sounds, you know. And so what I would recommend is, if it's just you and you have a limited amount of time, especially those of you that aren't doing this full time, I would wait until the leads come in, because you're going to be a lot more effective. You're not going to burn any of these potential relationships. Now, if you have somebody that maybe you're more progressed in this business, and you have somebody that is a setter for you, and you're waiting for leads to come in, and they're getting paid to set appointments, guess what that person's doing? They're calling, baby. They're calling lists. They're setting appointments. They're calling as if. They're telling business owners, we are coming into the city and leads will be coming soon. They are doing all of the above. I am not going to be spending my time doing it because I've got other decisions, other priorities I'm going to make. But if I'm paying somebody full time and they get paid for every appointment they set, every person they connect me with. They're the connector, as Jordan Belfort was for on the movie Wolf of Wall Street, then yes, I recommend it. But if it's just you, you're the solopreneur, you're so much more effective, you're so much more confident, so much more believable. You're not going to burn as many doors. You're going to have to only call, 5, 6, 10 people, to maybe even less, to get the hook. Your morale is going to be up. I love having the lead in hand. That's my 2 cents. Okay. Again, if you're somebody that just loves cold calling, which I've not met many, I hate cold calling. I've been doing cold calling for almost 10 years. Almost 10. This will be 10 this year in some capacity. I hate it. I still hate it. I love sales. I hate the cold calling. I do not like prospecting. I love closing. That's just me. Okay. So I do it with a lead in hand and a lead in hand only. That's my 2 cents. It's your boy, the King. See you in the next video.